Kakadu is the largest national park in Australia. It covers an area of almost 20,000 square kilometres. It is the size of Wales and a third of the size of Tasmania. Its size is apparent when one drives through it. Much of it is a vast lowland and floodplain of 4 major rivers. The rivers were named inappropriately by European travellers: the East Alligator River, the West Alligator River, the South Alligator River, and the Wildman River. These Europeans did not know the difference between alligators and crocodiles. But until about 140 million years ago, much of this lowland was under the sea. To the east of the lowland is a huge escarpment wall, which were once sea cliffs. This marks the beginning of the plateau of Arnhem Land. The escarpment rises 330 metres from the lowland and extends 500 kilometres. However, there are outliers of the Arnhem Land Plateau, which have become separated from the plateau. These were islands in the seas that once covered much of Kakadu. Towards the southern end of Kakadu are some low hills with streams and gorges. We walked to one of these, Marcook. The path took us through some of the thickest rainforest that we saw in Kakadu, alongside a small creek, sometimes in the creek, and sometimes crossing the creek, scrambling over the rocks. At the end of the walk was a beautiful waterfall and a plunge pool beneath. Kakadu contains some spectacular scenery, but more importantly it protects 280 bird species, 60 mammals, 10,000 insects, 1,600 plants and 117 reptile species. In 1980 it was recognised as a Ramsar wetland, indicating it was of international importance. In 1981, it was recognised by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. We caught our first sight of the beautiful and extensive wetlands of Kakadu not long after we entered the park. This is Mamukala. Not only were there green pygmy geese here, but for the first time we saw the unique, beautiful comb-crested jacana, which walks across the lily pad leaves. Back beside the main road we saw this agile wallaby. There are no kangaroos here, but several kinds of wallaby and wallaroos. On another occasion we saw a wild dingo beside the road. In the southern section of the park, these cathedral termite mounds abound, some of them up to 6 metres in height, the largest non-human animal structures in the world. They play a critical role in circulating the dead grass and soil, providing nutrients and nesting sites for birds and reptiles. Other termites live in the trees, hollowing them out and preparing them to make good didgeridoos. A late afternoon cruise on the Yellow Water near Coimbra, one of the 2 resorts in Kakadu, was spectacular. Flocks of whistling ducks huddled together on a muddy bank. Both types, the plume and the wandering whistling ducks. Magpie geese also made their presence known. A variety of egrets and herons waded through the mudflats. A royal spoonbill searched for food. A great jabiru or black-necked stork surveyed the scene, and for quite a while stared off a crocodile which was lurking nearby. There were numerous crocodiles here. Some were swimming in the water, others lying on the mud ridges, waiting for an easy meal to come walking by. Whistling ducks are amongst their favourites. As the sun descended, we watched a jacana with his chicks scurrying across the plants. It is sometimes referred to as a Jesus bird because of its ability to appear to walk on water. Kakadu not only protects the flora and fauna, but 40,000 years of Aboriginal heritage. There are more than 5,000 recorded rock art sites in Kakadu. We saw just a couple of these. The first was at Nanguluwur. We walked through open bushland with bright yellow, orange and purple flowers to a rocky outcrop. Here is one of the world's most ancient living galleries of art. Some of the art portrays powerful ancestors and spirits who are invisible to ordinary people. They have elongated toes and 6 fingers and are painted here as a warning. The firewoman has 4 arms and it's dangerous to people. Some more recent art uses an X-ray style. Here is a record of the ships that brought supplies to buffalo hunting camps in the area. Then there is signature art, hand stencils or hand prints, some of which may be 20,000 years old. A second site we visited was the Anbangbang Gallery. Here the painting was done quite recently. This is Lightning Man, with a band which joins his legs and arms. The painting tells the story of 2 people who broke the kinship avoidance laws on the rock shelf above the gallery. It reminds people to keep those laws. Aboriginal people share in the task of looking after this land. After 40,000 years of occupation, they understand it far better than any European. They light fires, for example, to renew the vegetation and to keep the park safe from uncontrollable bushfires. There are some major blots on the landscape. The Jabiru uranium mine has now ceased production, but there is a huge task in rehabilitating the land. We caught sight of water buffalo, introduced by Europeans in the 19th century to provide meat and trophies for hunters. They've caused great destruction in the park. A major challenge is tourism. It's important that numbers and visits are regulated. At the same time, tourists have a role in advocating for the care of the park and can provide some money towards that. We were most grateful to our guide, Hamish of Sugarbag Tours. With him, we hope that the beauty of this place is sustained and it continues to protect the flora and fauna that live here and the Aboriginal heritage it guards.